Hi, my name is John Sciacca. I am the product reviewer for residential systems, and today you are joining me for a first look unboxing. When I get a new product in, my first impression is generally when I'm opening it up and taking it out of the box and getting my first experience with it. And today you are going to join me as I take a look at the new SVS Evolution Bookshelf speaker. Joining me for this unboxing are a couple of great guys from SVS. We have Nick Brown, who is the Vice President of Marketing, and we have Smith Freeman, the Senior Director of Product Management. So guys, thank you for coming and joining me. And it's not entirely true that this is my first look at this product. I actually saw it when you unveiled it at CES earlier this year. And I was so impressed with how you could energize the show floor at Vegas that I knew I wanted to bring it in and take a look. So thank you guys for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
My pleasure, John. And you were one of the first. Absolutely, that was sort of a very much a sneak peek in Las Vegas. So I appreciate the kind words there.
Yeah, my very first impression, and this is going to be high praise indeed, it reminded me of the Wilson Audio, kind of their time-aligned speaker, and also the Salon Ultima. I'm blanking on the speaker manufacturer right now. Revel. No. God dang it. Focal, the Focal Utopia, with that kind of curved design, which was really the striking thing and like one of the big technological developments of this new lineup. So before we take a look at the speaker, what can you tell me about the new Ultra Evolution series?
Well, I'll start, and I know Smith can fill in some of the more technical details, but I mean, really, it represents the culmination of everything SVS has learned as far as speaker manufacturing and engineering since the very first speaker we released about 12 years ago, the Ultra series. And so there was, a complete reimagination. And I think, to hear Smith tell it, like, we really tried to leave no stone unturned and really set the bar for what was possible at the price. And I think the combination of different components and technology elements that have been incorporated into this speaker really got us to a place that I don't even think we were expecting the level of performance that we could get. Although certainly we keep very lofty expectations for ourselves.
Yeah, it was a long time of development. It was years, and so we knew we didn't want to just try and reskin, refresh the old products. And so we wanted to take a fresh look at everything. And I mean, honestly, some of the things that we developed for the final product weren't even on our radar when we got started. So there's a lot going on.
I also love that you guys have gone higher end, but still kept it at a price that makes it affordable. I mean, we're $2,500 a piece for the flagship Pinnacle Tower. So definitely something that anybody could aspire to in their system. This isn't, one of those, I think those Focal Utopias are 50, 60,000. So, I mean, again, a speaker that anybody could certainly afford. And before we take a look at it, I know that there's three big technology changes we had. We have the diamond coated tweeter. We have the kind of curved time aligned cabinet. And there's something with the bass cancellation. Can you give us a quick rundown on those three things and how that affects audio performance?
So Smith, I'll go first here, and I'll take the force balance woofer array, because that's actually one of my favorite elements here to discuss. And that's present in all three of the new towers. The lineup actually has three different size towers. They're all exactly the same in terms of form factor. You just get larger cabinet volume and bigger drivers with each one of them. But one of the key factors or key features that we developed for this actually was born out of our 3000 micro subwoofer, this force balance woofer array, where essentially you have two woofers on the front, at the top and bottom of the cabinet in the driver array, and then corresponding woofers on the rear part. And so when you have this execution inside the cabinet, the woofers are moving in, they're moving out together. There's a complete negation of any kind of resonance or vibration within the cabinet. So you get just very clean, tight, articulate bass. But then outside the cabinet, you actually, have a pair of these towers towed in, 8 woofers all firing in different directions throughout the room. So you get authoritative bass that really evenly distributes itself throughout the listening area. So you get nice, smooth bass response. And I think that was an important factor for us in creating a full range speaker. because one of the sort of ideologies behind these was to create, and actually this is for all SVS speakers, loudspeakers that are phenomenal, in terms of dynamics and the deep bass extension, their ability to energize and pressurize a space, but also have the refinement, the nuance, the articulation, some of the elements that I think the two-channel hi-fi crowd really, sort of appreciate out of a great set of loudspeakers for hi-fi. And that was a line we really wanted to walk. And I think Smith and his team just did a phenomenal job. And some of what he's going to tell you about really allowed us to achieve that level of refinement that I think, really sort of put us on the map as far as two-channel speakers go.
Yeah. And then of the two other items, the what's commonly called time alignment is it's a physical alignment of the acoustic center of each driver. So such that the emanation point of the acoustic energy kind of all reaches the listener at the same time. We did not invent this. This has been around for decades. Lots of brands execute time alignment in one way or another. We had not prior to this. And time alignment is really just another layer of product design. It's to further enhance the quality of the loudspeakers. And so it really plays into giving a more localized and accurate kind of point source of the product at the listening position. That was something we really wanted to try and bring into the product line. And that's basically in every product in the line, just about. We kind of built on that time alignment with the force canceling driver array to kind of further build on this point source concept. So everything is this it's kind of symmetrical layout of the drivers on the cabinet. And then the last part was the tweeter. And so the tweeter went through this whole kind of story and evolution on its own side. We knew we wanted to really take a fresh look, like a truly fresh look at this tweeter from the ground up. We looked at different dome materials, and we found that a new element of material science that became available and accessible for us was vapor deposition. And so this is literally the act of growing a layer of diamond carbon on the surface of a substrate, which in our case is an aluminum dome. And that takes the tweeter performance, and without a real reduction to the tweeter sensitivity, it pushes the breakup mode way higher in frequency. And it actually flattens out and smooths out the whole response of the tweeter. And it even brings up the bottom end a little bit because the resonant frequency of the tweeter drops a little bit. So that allows us to cross over to the tweeter a little bit lower, and we get a better dispersion pattern of the tweeter from end to end. And then we even went further with that by developing an all new diffuser for it. So we have the primary diffuser ring, and that's suspended over the dome with a kind of organic cellular lattice structure, and that has acoustic properties too with its off-axis response. And so, and that tweeters in everything, which is great, and it really made a huge difference in the fidelity of the speaker, the airiness of it, and just kind of the transparency and the ability to bring those highs coherently and clearly to the listening position.
Okay, so let's get into this unboxing. This is the SVS Ultra Evolution Bookshelf speakers. It is the larger of the two bookshelf speakers in the new Ultra Evolution lineup. And it comes in a pretty decent sized box with both speakers in here. So on the top here, you get a nice little welcoming packet to register your product, manual, all that. Take that aside. Okay, and then here's the speakers. So let's get these guys out. You can see grill comes separate, and you can tell right away that we've got something a little bit different than normal. You can see it's got a curved grill. So gives you a hint of the design of the speaker here. I really like how the speaker comes with this nice little covering on it. Keeps it really clean and fingerprint free. The high gloss finish, especially on the black, definitely prone to showing fingerprints. And then here we go. The gloss white is just really a pretty looking speaker. You can see there the binding posts. Really, you can buy wire them there. Nice. You definitely get a hint of the curve. Great. Well, with that intro, let's take a look at this bad boy. This is it. And I gotta say, I think the gloss white, it's so cool looking. I know everybody wants a black speaker, but there's something really modern and clean about the gloss white. And you can see, I mean, the tweeter that Smith was talking about there, and then the new driver array. And now from the side, you can really get a sense of the angling of the cabinet and the time alignment, even down on the bookshelf. So really, the only two speakers in the line that don't have this are the smaller bookshelf and then the prime elevation. Is that right?
The Nano actually does have a slight time alignment to it. It's not a very steep angle because the driver's a little bit smaller and the drivers are positioned where they're positioned, but that one is actually time aligned. The Ultra Elevation, that's a flat front baffle, and that's really a more utility purpose-built speaker for those effects channels and those height channels. And then the center channel, we didn't tilt in the bass drivers, but actually the most important part of the time alignment on the center channel is for the tweeter and the mid range, and those are.
I love how even on the bookshelf, I mean, you give the option for bi-wiring or bi-amping. I mean, really showing you're speaking to a higher end clientele on this speaker. You really want to give them all the performance features possible. And I mean, a surprising amount of weight on this guy. I mean, it takes a bit of effort to move him around. You can really feel the build quality. I mean, it's just fantastic. I'll say my impressions were, because I have lived with the Pinnacle Towers for a little bit now. My thinking going in was I thought that the diamond tweeter would have been maybe brighter or brittle even, but it's not. It's really, really neutral. And I feel like I'm just hearing whatever the source is. It's not adding anything. And the other thing that really I've noticed is you get a full bass response even at lower volume levels. It's not like they're only there when you crank them up. They're there. But when you want to crank them up, man, I think I was hitting like 115 dB on something the other day. My family went out of the house and I went nuts. And they just sound great. I mean, it's great. They're great for music. They're great for home theater. It really just an all-around performing speaker, just a bang-up job.
Well, appreciate you saying that, and I think you kind of hit on some key development aspects that we made with the entire Ultra Evolution series. You know, the SVS, a lot of our community and speaker owners, you know, a good portion of them like to play at higher volumes. They want a speaker that can handle that level of volume. And, you know, even in developing the tweeter, we looked at things like beryllium, we looked at things like ribbon domes, and we found this combination of the aluminum dome with the diamond coating to really provide, exactly like you were saying, that level of refinement, but also it's much more stable. It has better longevity than some of those other materials. And we wanted to ensure that that SVS customer could really be able to play whatever they want at whatever volume they want and have a lot of fun with these speakers, but also, you know, make have a performance that really would endear itself to the two-channel enthusiast, because obviously we're entering another set of competition with these versus our prior models. And we knew that we had to have that in order to truly compete with some of those $50, $60, $100,000 speakers, which I think have, you know, some of the more exotic materials and just, you know, more ability to sort of scale up in that realm. So kudos to Smith and his team for really finding a combination and keeping it at a price, like you said, John, that is well within most people's means.
Yeah, and also, I mean, the speaker, it's got a striking look to it. I mean, it's almost like sculpture-esque. So it's not like, you know, the traditional big black box speaker. I mean, it's got a real look and style to it. So you know, it fits into a room. Again, the white is gorgeous looking. Might not be right for every theater, but you know, in a two-channel situation, or maybe where you're going to have them out in the living room. I mean, they really decor friendly.
It's funny you say that. You know, we've brought these to all sorts of, you know, dealer events and audio shows, and the sort of spectrum of descriptors that people have used. It's like, oh, they're so masculine and high tech looking, and then it's like, well, they're so sleek and sexy, and so they're sort of open for interpretation as far as that goes. But I think that's part of what I love about them. You just have this sense of, you know, they kind of hit you, and you have this kind of guttural, visceral reaction to, whatever sort of visual elements that really stand out to you. And I'm sort of obsessed with the organic cell lattice tweeter. I know it's sort of the semi-irregular pattern, but to me, I fixated on that immediately, and so I'm always taking pictures of it and stuff when I go to shows. But it's got an acoustic purpose too, and I think that's part of what makes these speakers special. Is while they do look all those different ways, none of that is to waste. It's all built around having them sound as great as possible.
Well, I feel like you guys definitely hit a home run with this one. I mean, and I mean, you call it the evolution. It is like it's a propelling forward of what your other series was and taking you guys to the next level. And they sound great.
Well, we've had a lot of fun listening to them too. Like I was saying, at these different events, we've had the chance to pair them with everything from Macintosh to Rotel to Cord Electronics and a lot of higher end gear, and they absolutely respond well to that. But they can still, function and sound amazing with just an off the shelf Denon receiver as well. And I think again, you kind of get those gains as you upgrade the front end, and that's been just really rewarding to kind of hear the same tracks, which Smith can tell you, voicing a speaker with the same music, you sort of learn to love and learn to hate these different tracks. But for me, doing demos, it just sort of reveals what they're capable of every time you add some new kind of front end component and their ability to just sort of step up their performance as you upgrade that front end.
Now, as we're chatting right now, we're about 3 weeks away from CEDIA. What can you tease about the show? What can visitors expect at the SVS booth?
Well, we're going to have a full-on Ultra Evolution surround sound system in there, a 5.2.2, which will have the Ultra Elevations bringing in some height effects. We'll also have the Pinnacles on the front, which I know you've got in your listening room right now, John. And then the bookshelves in the rear. And we'll also be having a switcher that allows us to go over to 2-channel as well, so we can listen to them there. There may also be some surprises on hand. I'm not at liberty to disclose more than that, but we'll be showcasing some of our new accessories as well, our speaker-level subwoofer adapter, which just rolled out a couple months ago. But I can assure you there may be some more exciting things to see outside of our SoundPath accessory line. But the demo is certainly not to be missed. I think transitioning between a 2-channel system with some higher end components and then a more traditional surround sound system with an AVR, you're really going to get a sense for the different flavors that we can provide with these speakers.
Well, you guys are known to the detriment of your show floor neighbors of putting on a great demo. So always one, I like to watch the Barbie doll get blown over from the subwoofer pressure waves, and always great to come and hang out with you guys. So Nick Smith, I really appreciate you taking the time. Great speaker. Review coming up in residential systems. And if you're headed to Denver for CEDIA, definitely stop by the SVS booth and check them out.